Well, today we meet to consider the nomination of Jeh Johnson to serve as Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security. As we all know, the President has asked Mr. Johnson to take on a difficult and a demanding job. The Department is comprised of 22 distinct agencies spread across various locations throughout this greater Washington, D.C. area and indeed throughout the country. And although progress has clearly been made in bringing these 22 agencies together, 10 years after its creation, the Department of Homeland Security still lacks cohesion and a strong sense of team. Employee morale at the Department of Homeland Security remains perhaps the lowest among major federal agencies. Moreover, the nation's fiscal challenges and the effects of sequestration mean that DHS will face even more obstacles that make working toward getting better results with fewer federal dollars even more important. All in all, even on a good day, serving as the Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security is a really, really hard job. Fortunately for Mr. Johnson, there are few better places to learn how to manage a complex national security bureaucracy than at the Department of Defense. Mr. Johnson has been confirmed by the Senate twice before, once as the Air Force's top lawyer, and once as the top lawyer for the entire Department of Defense. In part because of his experience in these positions and other demanding roles, Mr. Johnson is prepared to face the challenges that will await him if he's confirmed by the Senate. For 4 years, he was a major player in running the Defense Department. He provided key advice to not one but two exceptional defense secretaries, Bob Gates and Leon Panetta, both of whom we know and respect. They've given him an invaluable experience for the huge task to which he's been nominated. Mr. Johnson has received high praise from many. Our committee received a joint letter of recommendation to him, I think just in the last day or so, from the three men who have actually held this position before, Tom Ridge, Judge Chertoff, and former Governor Napolitano. Each of them touted Mr. Johnson as, quote, an eminently qualified nominee, and urged the committee to quickly approve his nomination. Here's what former Defense Secretary Gates, a strong manager himself, said about Mr. Johnson and his time at the Department of Defense. This is a quote. Take my word for it. Jeh Johnson has successfully managed an array of major initiatives across the biggest bureaucracy in the government, and in so doing won the esteem of virtually everyone with whom he worked. That's Bob Gates' words. Former Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Admiral Mike Mullen, has also expressed his deep confidence in the nominee. Here's what he had to say about Jeh Johnson. Jeh is as fine a person and professional as I have ever met. I'm confident in his choice and that he will succeed in leading this most complex organization at a critical time in our country. In a similar letter, former U.S. Attorney General Michael McCasey added, Jeh Johnson will bring to the Department of Homeland Security not only experience, but also a frame of mind that should be a source of assurance to anyone concerned with the security of this country. He understands both the issues and the stakes and will make an excellent secretary. Mr. Johnson's also received encouraging words of praise from Fran Townsend, former Homeland Security Advisor to President Bush, as well as from former Secretaries of Defense Leon Panetta, General John Allen, the former commander of U.S. forces in Afghanistan, and a number of law enforcement groups. Mr. Johnson, of course, will not be alone in his task of leading DHS. It is critically important that Mr. Johnson be allowed to surround himself with a capable leadership team. We can help. Indeed, we need to. Currently at DHS, there are 13 presidentially appointed positions that are without a permanent replacement, 13. Of these, 9 require Senate confirmation. I describe this as executive branch Swiss cheese. As we consider Mr. Johnson's nomination, we must remember that protecting the homeland is a team sport. And those of us in the legislative branch are critical members of this important team. Once Mr. Johnson is confirmed, we need to do our part to expeditiously vet and hopefully confirm his leadership team as well. Before I turn to Dr. Coburn for his remarks, let me again offer to Mr. Johnson the same advice publicly that I shared with him when we met in my Senate office recently. I said to him, eagerly seek the counsel of former DHS secretaries. Talk to Tom Ridge, Michael Chertoff, Janet Napolitano, as well as former Deputy Secretary Jane Hall-Lute. spend a lot of time with the controller of the Government Accountability Office, Gene Dodaro. They want you and the department to succeed. Ask for their help. Don't be shy about asking for their advice again and again. The same should hold true for reaching out to former secretaries, DoD secretaries, Bob Gates and Leon Panetta. They hold you in very high esteem, obviously. They also know what you're up against. Lean on them. The collective advice will prove invaluable to you as you take on the role and the task that lie ahead. In closing, let me reiterate my strong support of Mr. Johnson's nomination, my appreciation for his willingness to serve the people of this country in this new role. I want to call on my colleagues, both Democrat and Republican, to join me in voting to confirm him as soon as possible. And Mr. Johnson, if you're fortunate enough to be confirmed, I look forward to working with you in the closing months and years to better protect our homeland and its people. And I would just say to your family who's gathered here today, your wife and your two children, a sister or two, others in your family, that I suspect you'll probably acknowledge when you make your comments. Just want to say especially to your immediate family and to your parents. Thank your parents especially. Thank you for raising this man. Thank you for instilling him the values that we need in leadership roles in our country. And to his immediate family, his wife and children, thank you for sharing with our country. Once again, a very good man.